All right, let's go ahead and start. This is going to be the double-minded man pillar. This is going to be video 1 of the actual presentation. You will get a prelude for the 1% man program and really taking you along the journey on you becoming a 1% man. Okay? Double-minded man. Right now, straight up with you, brother. You are double-minded. There's two men living inside of you. The man you don't want to be and the man you want to be. The problem is that you're building a life with these two men competing with one another. Okay? Why you're stuck in the same cycle of life? Why you're stuck in the same cycles of life over and over and over again? It comes down to this. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You are acting like this guy, but you're being this guy. You're being the old man, but you're acting like the new man. So the guy that you want to be, he's a mask. You can't actually like hold him. You're basically Spider-Man. When in reality, you want to be fucking Iron Man. Iron Man, Tony Stark, if you've seen the movies, which you should have, he's able to be Iron Man without the suit and with the suit, which is he's the same dude. Everybody knows who Tony Stark is. He's Iron Man, and Iron Man is Tony Stark. Spider-Man has a secret identity for a reason. But the problem is that when he's Peter Parker, he acts like a bitch, straight up. No, I don't know anybody that want to be like Peter Parker, straight up. But everybody want to be like Spider-Man. Why? Because that's the mask of the new man who's bold, confident, goofy, cocky, whatever it is. He gives himself permission to be the man that he really wants to be when he is Spider-Man, which is why he has a mask on. In reality, we don't want to wear a mask because that mask is unsustainable. And then we walk into rooms being afraid of being who we really want to be, especially when old people in our previous versions of ourselves see us. Okay? This is the pattern. You tell yourself this time is different, that you finally have figured it out. You're finally motivated enough to finally lock in. But every restart, the same belief returns that this is the version of you that won't slip. That's not hope. That's the cycle talking. That's the cycle repeating itself. Okay? You're locked in. You have a good day, a good week, even a good month. Then you get comfortable. Then you give yourself permission through that comfort to go back to who? The man that you don't want to be anymore. Okay? This is why when you revert back to the old man, you're in a state like that is like a child, because you revert back to the safest version of who you are, which is a childlike state, because you spent most of your primitive years in your life as a child. So now the old man is really the kid version of you. For me, I was a fat little kid. Let's call it what it is. I love that boy. Love him. Because he's seen a vision of himself of the man that I am today. Without him, I wouldn't be here. Okay? But when I reverted back, when I was 20 years old, I became fat. I became timid. I became insecure. I became X, Y, and Z. Everything that I was as a little boy. Okay? Afraid to be seen. Afraid to talk to women. Unsure of himself. No confidence. No conviction. The truth. You say this every time. This time it's going to be different. This time I'm more motivated. This time I have X. This time I have a new program. This time I have a new routine. That shit does not matter. You're not disciplined. There's a unexamined belief that you re-enter into without you noticing, without you questioning, without you realizing. Every single time you restart. This guy right here, this is the guy who built the car detailing business, that was able to gain women, had the relationship he wanted, but he couldn't sustain who he needed to be to keep everything he wanted. So what happened? He turned back into the kid that he was, the man that he used to be, the man that he didn't really like, right? I hated myself in this picture. And I really, now I'm at a point where I love this man right here. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Because things don't happen to me, they happen for me. Okay? I'll praise this to the Most High. The unexamined belief is that you're afraid of being seen. Straight up, that's what it is. You're afraid of being seen because you're double-minded, because you don't know which version of you is going to show up. You don't know of the man who's confident, bold, authoritative, a leader is going to show up, the man that you actually like being, or the man that you're running away from. The kid in you who's timid, who's insecure, who talked like this and was afraid, and the guy that you don't want to be. Okay? You're afraid he's gonna show up. So now you're walking into rooms not sure of which man in you is gonna show up. So now you're even more tense because you can't trust yourself. You cannot trust yourself because you don't know who's gonna show up. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You don't repeat the same cycle because you're weak. You repeat it because the pressure attached to the cycle is what's destroying you each time. You wear the mask of the new man, the man that you want to be. But then enough pressure, something cracks the surface. The old pattern comes up. Then it beats your capacity. You're no longer able to hold that guy, right? So a choice, a moment, you choose to betray yourself. You choose to cheat on the diet. You choose to settle for a woman you don't want to be with. You choose to go back to, drugs, whatever it is. Then this threshold, you passing your nervous system threshold, this is when you begin to slip off of your routines, your disciplines, whatever. You collapse. The structure of who you are, the mask that you're wearing, breaks. And you have an identity crisis. And you're living through an identity crisis over and over and over again because you're not sure who you actually are. Okay? You're not sure who you actually are, and you're not sure who's going to show up when you walk into different rooms. So you go back to what's comfortable, who you actually believe yourself to be, who you actually act as. See, a lot of guys will think, oh, well, you just don't have the right mindset. Mindset does not fucking work. Okay? A mindset does not work if you cannot hold the mindset. Enough pressure will make you go back to the man that you don't want to be, regardless of a mindset. Regardless of a mindset. You could know better, but still not do better. That is an identity level issue. That's what you really believe about yourself. That's the thoughts of unworthiness. That's the, I don't really believe I deserve to have a life worth living. I don't really believe, I deserve to have success in my life. That's an identity level belief, okay? Those are beliefs that you're afraid to bring to your friends because you don't have the right friend group. You're afraid to bring to your family because they're going to shame you, fear you, put fear into you. Same nervous system, same threshold, same collapse. Just wearing a new outfit every single time, and you call it a restart. It's not a restart. It's the same cycle. And you've been living it for years. The same fear dressed up differently each time. The same fear you're calling motivation, the same fear you're calling drive, the same fear you're calling hunger, the same fear you're calling almost there. It's not new, it's just dressed up. Okay? This was me a couple months into my identity refinement, my identity rewirement program. The Most High already had me working on my fitness, making sure that, I was reading scripture, making sure that I was aligned with the man that I wanted to be, which is at my core a man of the Lord. Okay? And we're going to go into like self-defining who you're going to be in this program, because that's going to be the most important piece. So you could sustain being the guy that you want to be, okay? You call it motivation, you call it drive, you call it hunger, you call it almost being there. Really, what it really is, it's you needing to prove the man that you want to be. And that creates a downstream to every facet of your life. With women, you have to act confident. You're not actually confident. You have to act bold. You're not actually bold. You have to act strong. You're not actually strong. In the gym, you probably feel yourself the most there, most intense, most disciplined, most consistent. If you're someone that's able to stay consistent in the gym. Truth, that's just where you're most comfortable, because that's where you're not required to be seen. You're not required to be seen alone. You're not required to be seen in solitude and isolation. So it's much easier for you to keep the mask of the new man in a place where you're isolated rather than a place where you're required to be seen. So if you're someone that's wanted to start content, wanted to start a YouTube, a business where you have to step into a certain role and be a leader, be an authority figure, that's where you will struggle because it's going to require you to be seen. So you're not really motivated, you're not really driven, you're not really hungry, you're not really almost there. What it is that you set these standards that are high that you could hit, but you move the post line each and every time so you can continue to perform who you are, which is unsustainable, rather than be who you are, which when you do that, everything becomes an expression of who you are. I'm a man of the Lord, so therefore everything I do is blessed, everything I touch prospers, everything I say is filled with light because I'm a child of light. That is my core identity, okay? So that means everything revolves around that expresses. Now, if I was performing, I would say, okay, well, you know, I have to say my prayers each and every day to prove that I am a man of the Lord, to prove that, I am a man of faith. Okay, I also have to make sure I face my fears to say that I am faithful rather than being faithful, which allows me to face my fears. It is two different ways of being. One state is pressurized. It's filled with pressure. This is how you've lived all your life. All your life. Another one is just flow and alignment, flow state. You've aligned your soul, your spirit, your mind, and your body all in one. You're moving in alignment. There's not two parts of you fighting anymore. You're one man inside the same body who's accepted who he is. He's accepted the parts of you you didn't like, and that allows you to move without any tension, and everything suddenly becomes easy. And then, my friend, you become a 1% man because most men don't want status, they don't want presence, they don't want money, they want to be free. Free from what? Free from the parts of them they don't like. Straight up. You're not a man who's stuck. You're a man who betrays himself. So that's the catch 22. You're not stuck. You tell yourself you're stuck. Who you really are is you're a man who betrays himself. So every time you start a discipline, right? It gets to that point where am I gonna fuck it up again? Am I gonna, am I gonna slip back to who I am? You betray the man that you wanna be. So now your nervous system has programmed itself to say, okay, me being new guy, the guy I wanna be, is unsafe. It's unsafe. If I'm bold, confident with women, whatever, if I'm super disciplined, intense, I have high standards, I'm an authority figure, I'm a leader, that's unsafe. That is unsafe. That is gonna kill and be a threat to the man that I am today. So you know what? Let me betray myself by giving myself an out to go back to who I was. Because I cannot handle the pressure of being this guy. It's too hard. It's too uncomfortable. So you become the man who betrays himself. You did it once, and that became your life story. Now, every single time, you're afraid that you're gonna fuck up. And you being afraid of you fucking up, you falling off your discipline, you being inconsistent, is gonna fuck you up. Straight up. It's gonna make you into this guy. You're a man who betrays himself. I know your fucking secret, bro. You don't trust yourself. You're already bracing to fuck up. You're with fine women and you're already bracing for her to leave. You're working your business and you're waiting for people to figure out that you're a fraud. You're walking into rooms and you're shrinking up under authorities, under men who actually know who they are. And you're hating yourself for it because you're betraying who you know yourself to be. And you create your own cycles. Every time you shit talk yourself, every time you shame yourself. That's what you do. That's why you're stuck. Stuck is a condition. Stuck is a choice. Really, you're a man who betrays himself. You don't keep your word to yourself. And this makes you go back to who you don't want to be. Okay, so that's gonna be the first video, first presentation. Every module is gonna have a presentation. You're not stuck. You just never left the cycle. This is the current video. Okay. Then you're gonna have the belief. You keep re-entering, what you call the restart, and who you actually are. Okay. So who am I? Who are you? This is gonna be the question for you to answer. Who are you? And you're gonna fill out. I'm a man that is blank blank blank. This is my example. I'm a man of the Lord. Everything I do, I bless as a reflection and expression of the light put inside of me by the Most High. I do not need anything in this physical world to allow me to be who I am. Okay? Because my identity is rooted in a higher power. Okay? First Thessalonians 5:5. This is my anchor verse. When I'm fucking up, when I'm reverting back to the old man, this verse I say in my head to bring me back to who I am. Ye are all children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. I have to act like a child of light. What does that mean for me? I have to be like the sun. My weight, my presence has to carry an affinity like the sun. Not only the Son of God, but the sun in the sky. What do? I bring life, I give life, I bring warmth, I bring presence, I bring exposure. I have to be fully seen because I'm huge. Nobody's gonna miss me. Everybody's gonna feel my presence. Light. That's what light is. I expose what's in the darkness, things that you don't know you're stuck in. That's what I do. That's who I am. Okay? That's who I am. So for you, who are you? Who do you want to be? Are you a man who's gonna build communities? Are you a man who's gonna make sure that he shows up for his family first? Who are you? These are things that only you can answer. I can guide you, but I'm not going to give you the answers of the man that you want to be. If you're going to say I'm a man who's confident and bold, great. Great. Those are virtues though. That's not a definition of who you are. How does a man who's confident and bold actually show up? What does that look like? You know why I have to be confident and bold? I have to be confident and bold because if I'm not convicted in who I am, that says I lack faith in the God that I'm serving. Therefore, I don't actually believe in what he's taught me. So now I have this pressure, which is not really pressure. Now I have this duty, this purpose to serve him and make sure that I show up the way that it is written for me to show up. Okay? Another part of me, another part of my identity is I'm a man of love. What is love? Loyalty and sacrifice. I have to be loyal to you guys. I have to sacrifice for you guys. I have to put your guys' desires above my own to serve my mission, my purpose to serve you guys, to help you guys rewire your identity. You know, right now it's July 5th, 2026. The Mexico game's on. I'm Mexican. I love to watch it, but I'm here serving you guys. I love it. I love it. It's not a disservice to me. It's a service to you. But you know why? Because I'm a man of love. And I want to help my brothers out. I want to help you guys out. Okay? That is my duty. That is my purpose. That's an identity level belief. I'm a man who's intense. What does that mean? I hold high standards. I make people uncomfortable because I believe in myself so much that light exposes what that other person doesn't have or inspires them to walk to it. Those are identity level beliefs. That is going to keep you grounded in who you are without money, without women, without needing a fake confidence, whatever it is in the physical world. It's going to be you giving yourself permission to be the man that the Most High made you to be. That is the first part of the double minded man pillar. Peace.